Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Line on C++ programming. So in the previous tutorials we have learned how to overload some operators. For example, we have learned how to overload the increment operators, the decrement operators, the shorthand operators, some of them. So here in this tutorial we're going to learn how to overload some special operators. C++ defines array subscripting, this operator, and then the function calling, and then the class member access operator or this arrow operator. So these operators can be overloaded to perform some very useful tasks. So one important restriction to overload these three special operators is that they must be non-static member functions, and also they cannot be friends. So we can't use a friend function to overload these three special operators, and also the operator functions for these three operators should be non-static member functions. Alright, so in this tutorial we're gonna learn how to overload this array subscripting operator. So here in this tutorial, for the demonstration purpose, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a class, and let's call it as marks, and let's say we're gonna have a private member which is gonna be an integer array, and let's call it as subjects, and let's say we have 3 elements. In other words, this subjects array is gonna store the marks of 3 subjects. That's it. Then we're gonna have the public access specifier, and then we're gonna define the constructor of this marks. So it's gonna be the class name, which is marks, and we're gonna define only one constructor, and it's gonna take 3 parameters. So let's say int marks of the subject 1, and mark of the subject 2, and mark of subject 3. So now we're gonna store the value received in these parameters in this array. So it's gonna be subject, and it's going to be 0 because the first index equal to sub1, and I'm going to copy this and paste it 2 more times, and we're going to change this one to 1, and this should be subject 2, and then here it's going to be 3, and it should be 2. So now we have an array as a class member, and we have defined a constructor which is going to take 3 parameters, and it's going to store that values in this array elements. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to overload the array subscripting or this 2 square brackets operator, and we're going to make it to work with the objects of this class marks. So here first we need to specify the return type. What we're going to do here is, in this tutorial for the demonstration purpose, we're gonna create an object of this marks, and let's say Anil, and then we're gonna initialize that here. For example, we need to pass 3 parameters, let's say 22, 44, 33, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this array subscripting operator to get the value which are stored in this array. For example, let's say if you want to access the value of 22, then we're gonna use this object which is Anil, and then we're going to use this pass the value. So when we pass 0, it should return the value 22. When we pass 1, it should return 44. When we pass 2, it should return 33, which is nothing but we are making this operator to work with this object of this class marks, and we're going to make it to return the value stored in this member array subjects. So here first we need to specify the return type, which is going to be int, and before that let me remove all these things. Alright, int, and then the keyword operator, and then the symbol, which is 2 square brackets, opening and closing square brackets, and then pair of parentheses, and between these parentheses we need to pass the parameters. Let's say our operator is going to take only 1 parameter, and it is of type integers. So let's say int, and let me call it as position, and we need to define the body. So here it's going to be return statement, and we're going to return the element in this subjects array. So it's going to be subjects, and then the position. So when we pass a position 0, it's going to return the first element in this subjects array. When it is 1, it's going to return the second element, like that. since this is a special operator available in C++, we can't overload this using a friend function, and this function is a non-static member function. Alright, now we're gonna create an object of this class marks, and let's say marks and Anil, and we need to pass 3 parameters, for example 22, 33, 55. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this operator function, or we're going to use this overloaded operator to print out the values 22, 33 and 55. For that I'm going to use cout, and I'm going to refer to the object name and then the overloaded operator, and I'm going to pass the position, the one parameter it takes, 0. And let's end this line, and similarly I'm going to copy this and paste it 2 more times, and I'm going to change this one to 1 and 2. Alright, I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this, and now you guys can see we got 22, 33 and 55. So here we have overloaded this array subscripting operator to work with these objects. So this is it guys, this is how you guys can overload the special array subscripting operator in C++, and in the next tutorial we're gonna learn how to overload some other special operators available in C++, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.